noise going higher, it causes like this, even 60% lower concentration. The effectiveness of the employees is really poor. Do you think natural materials like wood, hemp are better than plastic or glass? Does it have influence on our acoustics, on our spaces?
The solid materials like concrete, like glass, they're reflecting the sound and not absorbing the sound. And natural, structured, something like here, the wood, the hemp, have a lot of pores. So they are better for room acoustics.
Hello in Table Talks.
Hello.
We have a wonderful guest, Bartosz Chruściński.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we are happy to have you, especially you are expert, acoustic engineer, and you are working in Gorycki Sznyterman as a specialist in acoustics and sound.
Yes. Stage specialist, yes, that's correct.
Okay, tell me more about yourself.
So my beginnings was in a live sound. I was a sound engineer. I was mixing bands. Then I started to work in a big rental company and making bigger shows, more difficult shows. And then by every step, I was making progress. I was getting more knowledge and started to be a system engineer, be an architect, and making installations also. And also as a system engineer, I was designing sound systems for every project that was in our company. And from the smallest one to biggest shows in Poland.
Like what?
For example, the European Games opening ceremony, closing ceremony. I designed the on-site sound system and audio topology, for example. And I'm also a mixing engineer. I'm doing a lot of live recordings and mix them for TV appearances or, for example, for YouTube. I have also a couple of videos on my channel on YouTube, kind of tutorial things and products show-offs.
That's great. So why sound?
That's a good question. My father is a musician, is a professional musician, so music was a big part of my life from the beginning. But I was never interested in playing the music. I was more interested in technical stuff. So from the recording of myself on my computer, tweaking the sounds, making my own music, collaborating with my friends, it took me to this place.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
It's not my job, it's what I love to do, and I want to get more knowledge, be in some more interesting places, not only behind the mixing board, but also as a designer or as a specialist, as you mentioned.
Bartek, I often say that sound is like water. It leaks out of spaces, or out of rooms. What actually is sound from your perspective?
Yes, it's a good visual representation of behavior of acoustic waves. It's always better to visualize things because people like to see things. But of course there are some differences. So first of all, what is the sound? Sound is a wave that travels through air, and it's not like you think, for example, like a ball traveling from one place to another, but it's a vibration. It's a vibration of particles in the air that's spreading like a wave. It's the sound wave. And of course, it also depends on the, for example, temperature. But in simple words, it's just a vibration of the particles in the air. So something, for example, like a drum, by the vibration of the head of the drum, the particles in the air vibrates and travel. This vibration travel to our ears, and we also have eardrums in our ears.
Okay.
They are receiving those vibrations, and our brain can figure it out. What is it? Where it's coming from?
Okay.
That's the simple description. But like you said, the water is a good example. I also mention water when talking about signal flow. For example, in electric design, electric flows of the sound. So you have a source, like a source of water, and then you have pipes that water is traveling through and goes to different places in different pressure, for example. And it's also good to visualize the plans, the electric schematics by thinking about water flow.
That's really more visual, like when you are talking about this technical stuff. But I'm wondering, when you are walking into the beautiful modern office spaces and the space is nice, and then you can hear echo. Are there any solutions, any materials which can improve the acoustics, especially during recording or like during spending time or meeting in the places?
Yes, of course, but like we said before, it's always good to visualize things because we want to see things. So first of all, when we enter to the space, we can see what is inside, how it looks like, how it's designed, and how it feels for us when we see it. But the second thing that is not mainly discoverable, it's what we hear. And it's not as impressive as we can visualize things, but it's also important for our brain, how our physical state feels in space. So that's why we can see a beautiful space, but when we enter to this space, we can feel different emotions, and we don't know at first where it comes from. But it usually comes from the acoustic part of it. So, for example, loud background noise, different artifacts like echo, like a flutter effect. It bothers our minds. Our brain have to process it, have to separate the speaking, have to separate the important information from all the mess that is coming to our ears, and it's frustrating, and in a long term, it can just make us feel bad, or even exhaust our brain and our body. So, of course, there are ways to improve this situation. We know a lot of mechanical structures that can improve the acoustic feeling of the room. There is two main things that we have to discover. First thing is to absorb the unwanted sound and to reflect the sound. Because when we have two parallel walls, the sound could bounce between them and make this flutter and echo sound. So when we can absorb the sound from one wall, it will give us the more soundproof effect or something like that, and forbid those sound waves from bouncing. The second thing, you can spread them, you can reflect them to a different space, to a different point in the space, and also disable this magnitude effect that sound is building and building and building.
I heard that our brains perceive sound and they trust more sound than the visual part. Do you maybe know why?
Yes, I think it's because it's happening in the background. We are not thinking about it because we are thinking about what we are looking for. The sounds come and go in the background, so we don't have an ability to steer it, to think about it, and it goes straight to our emotions, straight to our brain, and the brain decides what to do. The brain decides, are you feeling comfortable or not? What your body should feel, what the body should do, or for example, when you are exposed to a high level of noise, a constant noise, brain could send information to our organs, for example, to increase the cortisol level, because it feels that something is going on, something is strange, we have to be conscious, and high level of cortisol, when it's long enough in our body, could damage our body, could damage our feelings, how we are concentrating, how we are remembering things. So it makes a lot of things that we are not able to point, not able to think, because it's happening in the background.
Okay, it sounds like it's a huge pollution of sound pollution around us. We are usually as designers talking about pollution of materials, but sound causes us a huge stress, as you mentioned, and level of cortisol rise up. So I'm wondering, what we can actually do to lower this stress, lower this sound disruption. Are there any tools, any solutions we can do?
Yes, of course. It's like in designing, visual designing or the space, like you are very familiar with. There are also things that you can do to a space to make it feel differently, and maybe to cover some bad parts of it, to improve the intelligibility of the sound, to better communicate in a room. Maybe you can talk more about the visual side, and I will refer it to sound side.
Yeah, from our perspective as designers, the really important is when we are surrounded by beautiful pieces, beautiful furniture, and we perceive usually as spaces through visual side. But we know that, like, to achieve also nice effect, we can use the acoustic panels, acoustic solutions. But I wanted to ask you about the differences between acoustic panels, absorbing one, and diffusing, because when we are talking many times with our clients, they thought, okay, we'll put some acoustic panels and it will fix our echo in the office, but yeah, we can direct the sound somehow, yes, through
Yes.
this
Yes, of course.
panels.
Like I said before, we have a lot of tools to work with. So, for example, you as a visual architect, you have colors, you have materials, yeah, you have the spreading of the elements. And in the acoustic side, we also have different tools to achieve different things.
What's that?
So first of all, we have to know what's the purpose of the space of the room. Yeah, because there is of course different ways to achieve acoustics in a music hall than in an open space office. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there are different parameters for describing this. For example, reverberation time of the room. For a philharmonic space, you would like to have a long reverberation time, mm-hmm. and for spaces like offices, it's good to have it very short, okay. Because it is better for communication. Because when we can speak at lower volume and everything, we are understanding what we say. But of course, when we are too many, when we treat the room too much, mm-hmm. we have too many absorbers, too many reflectors, we can ruin the effect. For example, there are chambers that have totally no echo, the sound mm-hmm. chambers. And first of all, you can think, oh, it's good because it have no reverberation, it have a total silence. It will be good for sitting there to relax, for example, to feel better. Yeah, but it is very different. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you ever have experience in walking in the acoustic chamber that is totally damped and has totally no sound.
No, I have never been to such a place. No.
Yeah, it's a place when you can measure the loudspeakers, the microphones, reflection, mm-hmm. etc. But it's a very strange effect for our body, for our brain when you enter, because our brain is used to have some noise. Yeah. Less, more, but there is some noise. And our ears are changing the level of our perception, depends on the background noise. So that's why, for example, when we are walking out at night, we can hear a lot of more noises, sounds in the background.
Yeah, but maybe it's because we are not able to see it well. So when we are a bit not able to see. Less distracted, so we can hear better.
Yes, of course. There is also an effect that it's commonly known in people that have eye disability, visual disability. They are more depending on their hearing. They can navigate in a room just by hearing the reflections, for example, from the walls. Mm-hmm. But coming back to acoustic chamber, just to end my thought, that when you enter in this kind of space, you can hear different sounds coming from your body. So, for example, when you have a lot of time in this kind of space, your threshold of the hearing is lowering because there is no noise. And you can even hear your blood flow in your veins. Of course, the heartbeat and all other stuff. And it can freak a lot of people.
How many times have you been in such a space, and for how long? Because it sounds like you have experience in it.
Couple of times, but not long enough to freak out. But it's a totally different experience. Yeah, it's an opposite side than that. For example, when you enter to a big cathedral, and every little sound, every chair movement or something like that makes a lot of noise. And it's spreading, it's propagating, it's making it bigger and bigger.
It's designed in this way to do it, yeah.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. But it's a totally different side of the experience. So yes, it's important to have a good acoustic that is correlated to a purpose of the room. So if you have a cathedral, you have a cathedral sound. But if you have an office, if you have your home office, that should be cozy, that should feel good, that you have spent a lot of time in. It also needs to be good for your brain. Yeah, so low noise, low reflections, no flutter effect. So a lot of absorption on the walls, on the ceiling, and also good furniture, maybe a rug on the floor, all kinds of materials that have raw edges, a lot of pores, so they can grab the sound waves, and also if there is a big space, you can spread the sound, you can reflect it, you can change the, for example, when you are designing a space, you can make the walls not parallel to each other.
Yeah, I heard that this is really important in designing like new buildings. When you want to have a conference room, it should be designed in a different way than like we used to think. They shouldn't have flat walls. They should be angled a bit, so the sound doesn't reflects, and there is not so big echo. Of course, the materials like around us and the buildings are usually made like in an economic way, like to make it fast and cheap, especially new buildings. Yes. And it causes a lot of stress for inhabitants after like living in the building made out of poor materials.
Yes, of course, but also now we have this kind of flow in the design that it has to be minimalistic. You have to have big spaces, big open spaces, flat walls, not much decorative stuff in a space, and it looks good. You have beautiful pictures, but when you enter this kind of space, you feel something is wrong.
Bartek, do you think natural materials like wood, hemp are better than plastic or glass? Does it have influence on our acoustics, on our spaces?
Yes, that's correct, because the solid materials like concrete, like glass, they're reflecting the sound and not absorbing the sound. And natural structured surfaces, so for example, fiber surfaces or something like here, the wood, the hemp, have a lot of pores, so they can grab the sound and not reflect it to the environment. So they are better for room acoustics.
Hemp, the strumber, has a lot of fibers inside, so it might absorb better sound, but it's also a matter of finish. When we have surfaces glossy, the sound will be different than when we have it matte. And as you mentioned before, that we can even hear the glass on the surface, how it behaves and how it the sound reflects. So I have a feeling that now with a huge change of materials and innovative materials, in the future we will have better solutions to absorb or sound or reflect it. And we know recently that the materials from mycelium are used for better acoustics. There are new tests, and in the future, in design, we will have more and more tools for people like you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, to shape these spaces more natural.
Yeah. It's a crucial thing because with good materials you can change a lot. So when you have something that feels good, looks good, and also have a good acoustic parameters, it will be very good for the space.
Yeah, we usually are designing beautiful things which are nice from a picture, but in our assumption of design is always using and answering humans' needs. So when we are thinking about furniture, we are thinking about them not only from the longer perspective, but also from the perspective of the sitting person, how we can perceive the shape when we are touching it or when we are talking with other person in front of us. It's a different table and it's a different furniture than we can see it on picture. But is it possible to sell it to end users, to clients, only from different perspective, or it's also possible to show it in a beautiful places, to show.
That's the place when the designer or architect should put him in a place to make it look good from all the perspectives, to make it feel good also when you are touching something. Yeah, it should be, like I said before, should be warm, should be nice, not hard. And also if there is some interaction, for example, with the glass, it should have a nice sound. Yeah, the nice sound in a nice sounding room, and you feel cozy. Like there are people that admire the sound of turning the page in the book. To put the hand over the book, to feel the paper, and this also I think should be considered with the furniture. Yeah.
Is it possible to check, to test if the furniture absorbs sound better,
course,
like
of course.
from the perspective of furniture?
Yes.
Is it possible to
Yes,
check it?
we can check, we can measure every kind of material. There are scientists that are making it every day, and there is a knowledge. We can know when you are selecting the material how it will behave acoustically. So it's only the matter of the designer to choose materials that look good, sounds good, feel good, and make a good piece of art, of furniture, of thing that you are using every day. So not only it looks good, feels good, but it also makes you can use it. Yeah, you can have a chair that is beautiful when you sit in it. You can sit maximum 5 minutes. Yeah, because you have no place to lean on. You have a different kind of position. And for example, with a table that, like you said before, you cannot sit in front of it because, for example, you have a lot of edges, a lot of corners, or you can there is the wrong height of the table. Yeah. So there are a lot of things that are not seen in a picture when the item is set in a beautiful room that is organized, but without people, without the reality.
Yeah, that's true. But you mentioned that designers should know. Like we have a feeling. We know that something will work with end users, but like everything we can measure. We can measure the surface, how it will behave. We can measure it and with numbers. Yes, yeah. That's. I think something we can
frequency, how each frequency depends, how it correlates with other, for example, how it will reflect to ceiling, to walls, We can measure everything. Like I said before, we have those chambers. You can bring this piece into a chamber. There is no other noise around, and just by pointing some audio source, for example, a speaker, onto this item, just measure different angles, different distances, and see what it's doing, or maybe is it making sound by itself, because it can reverberate in a specific frequency, and that could be annoying.
Okay, I think we will make some different ways of finishing on the table, and we will bring to measure it, to test what will be the sound effect of glossy finish or wax or oil, and how it will influence us as end users. And it could be really nice to have this knowledge, have those numbers, because we are mostly working with emotions.
Yeah.
But here we can measure it really. And
when you are measuring, you are recording, so you can record the sound.
Yeah, I'm wondering how hemp sounds.
Yeah, and you can compare it, how it sounds raw, how it sounds polished, how it sounds with some coating, some paint, and how it changes, and also, for example, how it changes the room acoustics.
So I think with such a knowledge and such a collaboration, we can design really unique pieces which will actually influence us for better conversations. Does good design furniture can influence better conversations?
Yes, of course, because it's influencing the space. So the good furniture could increase the intelligibility of the speech. So how you perceive my information that I'm talking to you, because when we are having a good conversation, it means we understand each other, and we want to have some more. Yeah, when we have a lot of distractions, we have to ask what you said. It disrupts the conversation, and sometimes those kind of things could put us out of focus, and you are losing the point. You are not able to think about what is the discussion for. So that this could be very important, and it's difficult to measure, but it's more a feeling, and how the discussion, how the conversation is flowing, is going.
Nowadays we are experiencing a lot of noises, not only sound noises, but visual noises. So through meetings, through such a discussion like we have, without phones, without any distraction, it makes us feel more present, and I think it's really important to design solution to create situations where we can communicate and talk and discuss
in person,
not through phones, not through social media. This is really it brings really big value, and I am really grateful for this conversation.
Yeah, people are lacking the ability to speak to each other, to meet each other. We have a lot of home office situations, hybrid work, and at first it was cool that you can work from your home, but now that I'm talking to people that could work from a couple of years in their houses, that their need to talk to other people, to behave, to act in situations with other people, because we need social contacts. We need to see, to feel other people, And after such a long time in a solo situation, it's crucial to could talk to somebody, to have a smile, to have a laugh, or something like that.
Yeah, that's true. And to have those gestures.
Yes, of course, of course. You can interact with each other, you can laugh, you can interact with other things in the room. There are always some things around, maybe something is happening in the other room. So it's very good for us as a people to be in a group, to work with other people.
Be human.
Yes, of course.
Physical.
Not focus only on phone or on social media, especially now when the AI is going big in social media and there is more not real stuff than real stuff. So I think then in a couple of years people will yearn to feel real things, to feel real emotions, to talk to real people.
Yeah, it's true. I'm just after Milano Design Week, and I have a feeling that people really want to go back to natural materials and to rest. They are surrounding interiors with calm colors, something what gives us a bit peace. And yeah, I think it will be also really big part of the change of acoustics, and understanding the acoustic has huge influence on us, on our well-being.
Yes, of course, and the natural materials behave better acoustically. So those new materials that you said there are from natural fibers are better acoustically.
So you have a feeling, you are distracted, but you don't know
Yes,
what is causing it.
It's happening in the background. You can more feel it than know what is going on. And that's why it's also important when you have an opportunity to walk in a space with somebody that has knowledge about acoustics, just to show you what different sounds are. Because you can hear them, but you cannot figure out what it is. So maybe when we are entering into a bathroom, you can show somebody, look, I will clap here, and you hear this flutter, this echo, and this is echo, this is flutter. And now we are going to your new cool house with a big open space living room with 2 stories up, and a glass wall. And look, I'm doing the same thing, I'm clapping, and you can hear the same thing. And that is what is distracting you here.
Yeah, and people are not so focused in spaces when there is an echo or the sound disruption.
Yeah, of course, because like I said before, our brain is receiving all these signals.
Yeah.
It processes it.
And especially I heard that when you are in the office and there is a echo, people start to talk louder and louder, and there is this noise going higher, and it causes like even 60% lower concentration, and the effectiveness of the employees is really poor in such places.
Yes, it's also interesting because there is something called Lombardi Effect.
Yeah. Okay. Can you tell me more about it?
Yes, in simple words, Mr. Lombard figured out that where there is a high background noise in a room, people starting to talk louder, because our brains knows that we have to address louder to be received, to be heard, to know what we are talking about. So it also making us feel worse at the end of the day, And it's in a long term, it could be very dangerous.
Okay, but there are some new rules I heard that coming, acoustic passports. So maybe it will help us in the future to have better designed spaces. Like when we are talking with entrepreneurs and our clients about the space design, they are more and more aware of noise pollution, but they don't know how to improve the spaces.
Yes, that's one side, but we have a lot of regulations. We have Polish regulations, we have European Union regulations. There are in our environment from a long time. But the problem is that clients, investors don't know about those kind of regulations. It's kind of hard to participate, to hear that when you are entering in a new building, that it's not finished. You have no floors, no wall decorations, no doors, and everybody thinks, oh, it's okay because it's this kind of level of the investigation, and it will be better later. But sometimes it's even worse later.
Okay.
Yeah, but because you are adding new reflecting materials like doors, like windows, and the bad sound is even magnifying after that. So there are regulations. We are more aware of it. I'd say normal people, so people that are working in spaces, not designing those spaces, are more aware of those regulations. Like we said, they're more aware about the sound, about that we can change the sound in the room. Then what is the sound? What are those problems? What is the noise? And often starting to point it to their CEOs, to their managers, that something is wrong. I'm feeling bad after a day at office, and everything is okay when I'm, for example, at my home office. What's the difference? What we can do about it? And that's the point when designers have to say, yes, we know that there were some regulations, but things changed. The cost of the building, like you said, it's maybe more important that we have good photos from our open space, and etc., etc., etc.
Do you think natural materials like wood, hemp, can cause better sound result than plastic or glass? Are there any materials which are surfaces which absorb or diffuse sounds better?
Yes, of course. Every element in a space, in a room, have its acoustic ability. So furniture also. It's even better to have good materials on pieces of gear that's inside the room that it's necessary than the fact that we have to put extra things on the walls or on the ceiling. Yeah? So when we designing the space, when we can choose from materials that are better for acoustics. So, for example, have more pores, they have more ability to absorb the sound. There are more flexible, more from the fabric than from the hard, for example, concrete or glass. It can change a lot in the space. And then you can leave, for example, one or two walls completely flat without any other additions, but the rest of the room will do the work.
I think with the knowledge and new tools, we are able to design better spaces.
Yes, for sure.
And are you using any tools, special tools to measure? How are you measuring the acoustic part? Of course, you are showing that you can clap and show to the client, but are you using any special tools?
Yes, of course, there are many tools to measure the space, to measure the reverberation, the frequency response of the room. That because reflections are dependent by frequency, and also this echoing effect could appear in higher frequencies and also in low frequencies. We can measure it with measurement microphones and visualize it on computer software and see and address those issues. And of course, we have, for example, speaker that could play sound, that could play noise in a room to record the room where there is some sound inside, because it will behave differently with the sound and without the sound. And also there are some tools that can help us to address the issues by the acoustic sound that is coming through the walls, because the sound is reverberation, yeah, it's a wave, so it can travel through not only the air, but also for example, the concrete. It's interesting because the sound travels faster in water than in air.
True, yeah. When we are diving, we can hear sounds from far.
Yeah.
And it is yeah.
That's why we sometimes when you are even at the lake, you can hear perfectly somebody that is talking on the other side of the lake, yeah, because the water is transferring those acoustic waves.
Because it's more tense, yes. So is it also like with materials?
Yes. So if the material is denser, the sound will travel better in this material. So now, when we are using a lot of concrete and it's stretched on metal bars, and it has a lot of tension and a lot of density, so it's easy to make it reverberate. Mm-hmm. So that's why now we can hear a lot of different sounds coming from our neighbors in big store buildings, and we have to address those issues. And like I said before, there are regulations. Mm-hmm. Architects should take this into consideration, but it's needs more money, more materials, different kind of spacing the materials, because the air is the best isolator. Mm-hmm. So when we connect to walls, the sound could travel through them. Mm-hmm. So, for example, we have tools like a stomper, the mechanism that is stomping like feet on the floor.
Okay.
And you can run it from 2 stories up in a building and measure the sound in your apartment, how it travels through the walls.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully the new regulation and this acoustic passport will maybe force developers to create spaces like better design in the matter of acoustics, yeah, and like also in offices, they're supposed to be lowered dB from 55 to 45. Can you tell me more about dB? What does it? What is it?
Okay, so decibel dB, in short, is a kind of measure, but it measures the change of the thing, of the measuring aspect, not the strict amount. So, for example, when you are talking about distance, we have meters, we have kilometers. We know how much size it has when something is 1 meter long. The decibels describe the change. The change in this particular situation, the change of the sound level. So there is not such thing as sound level at 0 dB.
Okay, so what does it mean? Like there is 0 dB?
Yeah, 0 means no change. Nothing is changing.
Okay, so like a change means like some. Can we measure this change?
Yes, of course, because we can measure one state and another state and describe how much the sound level is changing. For example, like you said, if we are looking only on the numbers, the change by 6 dB means something is twice as loud.
Okay, so 12 will be 3 times?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And it's for example, when you have a loud concert that is on 90 dB, and the sound level will change to 96, it means it's twice as loud as it was.
Okay, so new offices, when they will have 48 dB, they're supposed to be like more cozy and better space to.
Yes, and it's a big change
spend
because it's not visualized in those numbers, but it's a significant change, and it will increase the feeling in the space a lot. It's a big change, but of course it will depend how it will be inserted, how it will be featured in our world. Of course, it also depends how we can measure it, who will measure it, is it good or is it not good. So that's why I think it's important to talk about it, like we are doing now, that people will know these things and could address those things when they're entering their workspace, and they can talk with other employees that something is wrong, we have to change it, we cannot work this way, it disrupts us, it makes us sick, etc., etc., and address it maybe to somebody that could change them.
Yeah, it sounds like there is going to be a big change, and regulation usually helps, of course, if they are well implemented. And like in Poland, the situation maybe is a bit different than in Scandinavian countries, where they are really focused on well-being and acoustics. And in Europe, like in the countries which implemented this acoustics solutions, like they really have increased the way of concentration of the employees, and I think it can be a change. It can have influence, but I'm wondering if you think, is there any possibility to design, example, furnitures which will help to absorb sound or to improve the communication?
Yes, of course, there are companies that are helping with this kind of treatment of spaces, to select the good furniture, to select good other sound things, like because we know we have some booths for phone talks in offices, we have some kind of silent rooms, we have conference rooms, and there are different ways to treat them. So I think it will be cool that we can gather all the elements, so the acoustic elements, the design, the looks, and of course the function of the furniture in one, so that everyone will be happy, and even the owners of the companies should know that those employees could work better, could be more happier, and they will want to go to office, because it will be a better place for work than in a home office, for example, with children, with pets, and all the other noises. So it's good to gather those informations, to walk with acousticians, designers, manufacturers also, because it, like we said before, depends on the materials, and to make those spaces not only look good, but also feel good.
So I have a challenge for you. Like,
Yeah.
close your eyes and imagine.
Yeah.
And can you describe the furniture which will help us communicate? How it will look like, or how it will be, like, if you'll touch it, maybe it will have different structure. Are you able to shape it in your mind?
First of all, I'm thinking about gathering in one place. So, for example, at the table, surrounded by chairs, and with no long distances between people. So something like we used to do years and years before, like gathering around fire, gathering around the dinner table, and have a connection with the other people. So about the materials, I think it should be good enough to support the weight that you can lean on, or maybe put something on it. But it also, of course, have to be soft in touch, so no rough edges. So it could be, for example, wood or a material that also have a maybe good temperature when you touch it. It's not cold, it's warm, and of course not making unwanted noise, like squeaking and all that stuff that I can have off chair.
Okay.
It can disrupt you in a second. Yeah, something is going on. You are trying to say something important and your chair is squeaking a lot. Yeah, you're leaning on a table and the table is moving. So I think that those parameters will be crucial for me. And of course, it should look good, because if we are sitting in a well-designed, beautiful place, it's good to be there. So it's good to talk to each other in this place.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine it. Yeah, but when you mentioned the cracking and the sounds, I would try to think about how we would design the table or environment which will distract us so much. Maybe to see it from the other side. Yes, the sound, the cracks, the flat surfaces which will.
Yes, it's always good to have a comparison, because
as a contrast.
Yes, of course. For example, when you have a glass table and you put a glass of water on it, and it makes a distinguished sound, and maybe you can move it on this glass on glass, and it will squeak and will get terrible noises like fingernails on the blackboard or something like that. And it's terrible. So if you can show people this kind of noises, and maybe in a room that is terrible acoustically, has a flutter, has an echo, and point those aspects. Yes, you can see that this surface is flat, this surface is hard. When you put something hard on it, it will make noise. Yeah, these walls are not treated. This chair is loose, is badly designed because, for example, parts of your wardrobe are going through some holes. When you're standing up, you are grabbed by your jacket or something like that. And when you can show it to people, the next time when they are appearing in some place and they're stuck on this kind of things, they're, oh, okay, that's it. maybe next time when I will design my place, I will think about it. I will consider it more than just how it looks on video or on a picture. Yeah, when you are showing it to your friends, it looks good, but you cannot use it. Yeah.
I think people has to experience to understand that something with a space is wrong. If they will experience a bad sound, they will know what's the best space for them with good acoustics. Yes.
Yes, of course, we can compare it also to, for example, kitchen design. Because there are numerous of rules of kitchen design. People are arguing about where to put the refrigerator, where to put the sink and all that stuff. But it's not the same in, for example, designing a living room, designing a bedroom. But it's even more important to have a good bedroom because you are sleeping in it, you are resting in it. Yeah, in kitchen, you are working, yeah? You are doing something, but in a living room, you should feel good.
To relax, yes.
To relax, to recharge your batteries. And there are no as much, I don't know, good practices or regulation on the rules of designing a bedroom or a living room than a kitchen.
Yeah, but in kitchen, usually you have a lot of flat surfaces and the sound is like after working with cutlery or pan, scratching it, there is a lot of noise.
Yeah, and it's magnifying the noise.
Yeah, it is. It's a space which is usually nicely designed as from the visual side, but as for the acoustic side, it's like hell. Like usually we are experiencing it.
Yeah, and the same with bathrooms. Yeah, because you have hard walls, you have maybe not as much decoration like in different spaces, but you want to take a shower, you want to take a bath, you want to relax, and suddenly you hear all these noises, the water falling down, making even more noise, and it should be good for you to have some rest, but it's not good. And for example, when you are designing a room for a newborn, for a baby, it often has only the walls and maybe one little bed, because you are thinking that the baby will be bigger and you will design it, you will put some furniture later, and it has horrible acoustics.
True.
And then your child is crying, you have to calm it down, to put it to sleep. You are bringing it to this kind of space, and the baby hears the loud noises, but baby doesn't know that this is
his noise.
Yes, and it's frightened, and it's even more terrified. It's crying more and more and more, and you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So that's why in previous years you often put children in blankets or a very soft, cozy spaces, because there is a noise cancellation, no reflections, and it helps the child to calm down and to rest.
You brought a nice subject, because recently we were working and designing a new furniture collection for kids, and we were discussing also with our client that no one is talking about acoustics in kids' rooms, and the kids need to feel safe. The room has to be filled with nice materials, of course, not toxic ones, and it has to have this softness, which we can, as designers, bring to the places and advise also parents how to cover walls with materials which will absorb or reduce this bad acoustics.
Yes, of course. Each of us could recall the experience of a break in a school, when everybody from all the classes went to corridors, there are flat surfaces, solid walls, and there are a lot of noise. And like I'm also sometimes talking with teachers, they are more exhausted after the break than after a few classes, because of the sound level, the noise they are making by the children. So it's, like you said, also important for kindergartens, for school, for elementary school, that those places are comfortable and are not making people feel bad.
Yeah, maybe new regulation will also cause the change in designing these public spaces, especially schools. Yes, they are causing a lot of stress for kids or also teachers.
And like you said, it also affects teachers. So people that are working, that have to be focused, they are responsible for the child safety and all this stuff. And it's very important to make a good space for them to work, of course.
Oh, I think this discussion is really, I feel like it's a kind of a start of discussion, but we are heading in nearly in the end. And I would like to ask you maybe for some advice if anyone would like to change something around their environment, or to improve their sound, the acoustics of the space. What would be the advice you would give?
At first, I think that people should think about acoustics. So when you are in a space, in a room, take a second, think about the acoustics, how I'm feeling sitting in this room, and is it also connected with how I'm hearing myself, I'm hearing the environment, what is the noise floor. And then when I'm in a different space that it's not making me feel good, think about, maybe it sounds different. And try to point those things and think about them. And then when we can address the problems, there are many companies, there are many ways of improving it. And of course, if the building is badly designed, we cannot make wonders, but we can improve the feelings, the acoustics. There are many materials that we can put on walls. And it's also important to mention that it's not like those packs for eggs. I don't know how it's called. You know, when you have 10 eggs, they're put in this cardboard thing. And people used to put it on walls and think that it will improve the sound quality.
Does it improve it?
No.
Okay.
At all. But it's important that there are ways to make it also look good. Yeah? We don't have strange things on the walls. We don't have strange things in the room. We can do it by a good design. We can do a lot of things with it. We can have acoustic paintings. We can have acoustic lamps. We can have acoustic ceilings. Like I said before, we can have acoustic furniture. It could look good, could be designed good, and make a space that's acoustically good.
Well, it sounds that we have a lot of work ahead of us.
Yeah, it's cool that we have a chance to talk about it. Because if people are more aware, it will be better for every one of us. And also, if the people could see the problem, they could ask you, so maybe you could design my space to look good and also to have a good acoustics, yeah? And you can introduce other materials that could be better for this purpose.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of things to do, and there are so many solutions nowadays, and we can measure everything and improve. And I think it's our role to talk about it and share meetings like this meeting with you, with others, because it can inspire someone.
And of course, we can predict all these things, like you have a software for 3D modeling the space. We have a software for 3D modeling the space in an acoustic way. So in a design stage, we can check how it will behave acoustically. So it's not that we have to build it and then measure and address the issues. We can address the issues in a design stage.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bartek, so much for having you. And
thank you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. I learned some new things. And yes,
it was very nice to talk to you, and maybe sometimes argue about some kind of things, but I think we agree that those bad acoustic spaces are worse for our feelings, for our well-being. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.